This is Theoretical Thrills, the podcast where three hosts pitch original theoretical rides and attractions based on things they don't own. A special guest judge awards bronze, silver, or gold based on three separate categories: most creative, most practical, and guest's favorite. With bragging rights on the line, the hosts will try to pick each other's ideas apart through gentle ribbing. So sit back, relax, and stand clear of the moving doors as we present Theoretical Thrills.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.
Oh boy!
In 3, 2, 1, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Theoretical Thrills. I'm your host, Oliver.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Spencer.
And we're joined by a very special guest this week. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm so excited for this.
We're so excited to have you because you're here for a special week, known as DuckTales. Now, Ben, what is your relationship with DuckTales? What is your relationship with theme parks? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was asked by Brad to do this show because I wrote for the third season of the reboot of DuckTales, which is 2 years after the job ended, still airing now, because that's how animation works. So maybe some episodes still left to air when this goes up, because it starts back February 22nd, goes till maybe the end of March, so we'll see. So I wrote for the third season of DuckTales. I loved DuckTales as a kid, so I'm aware of the old show and the movie. If you guys mind the movie, I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I remember the basics of it. So
how else are we going to do a scene with a laser grid?
It's got to be a laser grid. Theme parks, I love theme parks. I haven't been to Disney World or beyond in quite a long time. I will say, as a Disney employee, you get a silver pass, and so you can go to Disneyland for free and bring 3 of your friends, and that was the best time of my life.
You feel so cool just walking about with the silver pass.
You just feel really cool, and then they give you like these crazy coupons to for food, and it was the best time of my life. People say college is the best time of your life when you're a Disney employee.
Yeah, no, it's a Disney employee.
But I love theme parks. I haven't been to Disney World. I was supposed to go to Tokyo Disney World, and I still Disney Sea.
Disney Sea.
I didn't get to go, but next year.
Sounds good. So we're very lucky to have you. We're so excited to get to do this week. Before we get started, quick question to you. What would you say is your favorite ride that you go to? Like your go-to, the park gates open, the first thing you're going for. What is your go-to ride?
I would, just based on the park that I go to the most, which is probably Disneyland, I would say, or California Adventure, which is, I mean, those are both one thing, right? For purposes of this.
DCA.
Like, it used to be Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and now it's the troublingly rebranded Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy ride, Breakout. I just still love being dropped in the air like I'm gonna die, whether it's Twilight Zone or whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy. That's probably my favorite ride.
Dear God, Spencer, this is your week for your drop tower.
And the 1 week I didn't do a drop tower. I could rethink it.
So with that in mind, you're going to be paying attention to 3 categories and awarding points based on those. Those 3 categories are?
The 3 categories are practicality, which is something that feels like it fits in a theme park currently or in the near future. Creativity, which for a lack of a better word is a creative idea. And the 3rd category is guest favorite, which, Ben, this is something that these rides or attractions tickle your funny bone, feel your fancy, touch your tombstones, whatever it is. No. It's just anything that makes you feel great.
Unlike the term touch your tombstones.
Ben, welcome to the podcast where our definitions include the word itself just really awkward.
Strong start. Strong start, everybody.
All of those analogies wrong. Like, isn't it tickle your fancy? And you said feel your fancy.
Yeah, I said tickle your funny bone. That one was fair.
Just lock it up there in the brain dreams. That famous expression.
Improv.
Oh boy. So we have all that going on, but here's the thing. The reason you're awarding points is because at the end of the season, those points will be
put together, and whoever gets the least amount of points gets the punishment. This season, the punishment is that the person who gets the least amount of points this season will be forced to listen to the Electrical Light Parade song on repeat for 24 hours.
God. Oh my
I
God.
know, right? I know, right? It's like a Russian torture device.
So Electric, it's a small world. That seems like the most famously painful song.
Well,
No,
you guys
because,
are being nice.
because It's a Small World. It's a Small World can loop into itself. Specifically with the Electrical Light Parade, it gives you that intro that will really just pull you out of your reality. Yeah, the ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it's going to be rough. So that's what's at cost here. That's what we're gonna.
All right.
That's what we're going for. Now, before we started this podcast, we went ahead and spun the wheel to decide what our order would be this week. The order is, Brad?
The order is Spencer first, Oliver second, and myself third.
All right. So without further ado, Brad, we're going to get right into it. Ben, are you ready?
Ready. I'm ready to take notes. Let's do this.
All right. Let's do it. Spencer, take us away.
All right. I first want to point out that I have a sideburn for those that are watching that just won't stay down. So I'm just calling it my own little duck tail for the day because it looks kind of fluffy like a duck's tail. So it's in honor of DuckTales. I decided
what points did you think you were getting from this?
I'm just pointing it out because it's really bugging me, and I just don't want people to think that I didn't notice it was there, and it's definitely
Now I'm
there.
staring at it.
Now we can't unsee it.
Now I'm going with it. It's my theme of the day is a ducktail. So speaking of DuckTales, I'm going to dive right into my first attraction, which ironically enough doesn't involve a swimming pool or a diving board. Funzo's Fun Zone is a restaurant and play place like a Dave & Buster's or a Chuck E. Cheese, or like a Funzo's, if you will. It includes restaurant seating, arcade games like the Uke or Puke, an interactive Fun Zone animatronic, the seal thing like Chuck E. Cheese, and of course a ball pit. But not just any ball pit. No. It's called a Scrooge McDuck money bin, where all the balls are foam coins and inflatable bills. So that's Funzo's Fun Zone. That's my first pitch.
Any questions, Ben?
Some good research there. The Uke or Puke is a game that's in Funzo's Fun Zone. I mean, inflatable was money.
For the
seems unsanitary, like if they're foam based, but
inflatable so they can pop.
Oh, okay.
Like the balls. You can inflate the balls.
Okay. So they're not made of like foam or something that absorbs like.
Oh, I said foam coins. There's definitely foam coins in there.
He definitely came up with a porous object that people are jumping into.
But the bills are like the same material of the balls. They're just not shaped like balls. But you can inflate those, I guess.
Nothing porous, right? Is that what you're saying? Are they coated with something so that it's not like just absorbing the sense of children sweating in a pit or throwing up?
What are you talking about? Kids are the least messy creatures on earth.
Just absorbing the scent of puberty.
It's basically a ball pit that's themed to Scrooge McDuck's bunny bin, with the addition of foam coins.
Okay. No, foam coins.
But like big foam coins you can like toss and stuff.
Yeah, no, that wasn't our objection. We're gonna move on to your next pitch. This is your second one.
Correct. My second pitch is called Buddy, a Test, because I couldn't think of a better title. But this is similar in style to the Test Track or Radiator Springs Racers rides. Mark Beeks has asked you, the guest, to hop aboard Buddy and test this self-driving car now that it has been adjusted and fixed and tweaked. However, and I'm going to say this like the Greek would say it, Gyro Gear Loose, not Gyro Gear Loose. Gyro Gear Loose is working toward keeping the Buddy from wreaking havoc again. And he is here to help save the day and you from his rival, Mark Beeks. Strap in and buckle up as you race for your life in a Buddy, like a test track car, that Mark Beeks has set loose again, all while your future Buddy, Gyro, not Gyro, Gear Loose, is there to help save the day and keep this ride from going off the tracks. So it's a test track Radiator Springs rethemed to the Buddy system with Mark Beeks and Gyro, not Gyro, Gear Loose, doing a rivalry.
Why is this the hill you're choosing to die on?
I'm Greek. That's literally how you pronounce Euro.
No, do you call it gyrocopter or Eurocopter?
I don't even know what that is. I know of a helicopter.
It's almost like you can't feel bad for him, but you also can't celebrate it.
But see, why wouldn't you want to eat a delicious gyro while you're also doing science?
Ben?
I'm upset by the pronunciation of the name. It's very upsetting to me.
I did say the correct way though.
No.
But there's different ways to say the same word based on like where you are.
I know, I said gyro.
So do you have any questions about the ride?
I like that. I mean, again, I should wait for scoring things until the end. I like the reference. It's wild. I don't think I have any main questions about it. I'm just really upset about Euro.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't paying attention to most of the ride because he kept saying Euro, and it just every single time I was just like, what? Why does he keep saying this? You don't call it's like saying you're
It's
Spencer.
a smell world after all.
Like instead of calling you Spencer, I'm gonna call you Spencer. He's Spencer.
But that's not based on a language.
It's the Greek way of saying it.
No, it's not. Spencer's not even Greek.
Spencer.
All right. Moving on to the third attraction, I guess. This is Junior Woodchucks of the World, a scavenger hunt adventure. And what this is, it's similar to like, I think at one point there was a Lion King scavenger hunt and like a Mickey and Minnie's camp, Mini Mickey Animal Kingdom scavenger hunt. But this with guests, kids, whoever, adults too, can go on a scavenger hunt around the park collecting Junior Woodchuck badges, which are essentially stickers at different locations that they can take with them on their journey throughout the park, doing these exciting things with the map that they have provided at the front. It's a scavenger hunt through the park. And you get stickers, which you can put on your body as a badges. That's it.
You guys supposed to? Are you gonna comment first? I mean, I don't think anything bad about it. I think that's interesting. Like,
it's very cute.
We did have like I think there is some kind of like DuckTales thing at Epcot that they were planning where it is like you go to different locations, but I think it's all digital with the phone. Like they love those phone kind of games now.
It's like Pokemon Go.
But the idea that you would get stickers is very fun. Like badges is something like if someone like says the right thing at a churro stand and then they're like, oh, and then they give you a sticker, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I like that you had 3 ideas for DuckTales, and the closest you came to using the main characters of DuckTales was some foam money coins for Miss Scrooge.
Well, Junior Woodchucks of the World involves the DuckTales also. I just didn't use their name.
All three of your things are involved in DuckTales.
I get a headache. It's a special kind of headache when you talk.
I just didn't use Huey, Dewey, and Louie because I feel like Huey, Dewey, and Louie are going to be in a lot of attractions. Yes, sure. So, but here's the thing. With Junior Woodchucks of the World, a scavenger hunt adventure, if you want to bring kids to a theme park and they can't go on any rides, what else can they do? Well, they can go scavenger hunt around the park.
You could have even just said led by Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Like you could have easily just thrown them into that.
Well, themed. You could even do teams on your phone, just like they do with Pokemon Go.
It didn't involve Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
No, you actively didn't.
You did. You can't change your pitch.
No, I said no.
So this serves as a great time to remind our guests that you're going to be judging these ideas off of the original pitched concept, not how we fix or tweak it. So remember, it's the words out of the pitched person's mouth that you're going after.
I mean, I think it's a solid pitch on its own.
Yes, it is a solid pitch on its own. It could be for anything, including
but here's the
thing we're talking about.
Here's the thing, because theme parks love to like retheme their own ideas. So let's say that this was a DuckTales park, and all of a sudden they're like, well, we're not going to do DuckTales anymore. Guess what? You can change Junior Woodchucks to something completely different and still give out the same stickers and the same kind of things, but all you got to do is change the name of it instead of the characters and the name. Very simple, very practical.
That really sells it to me.
Yeah.
But also creative.
I love how you pitch your concept to the person who's working on it, saying, eventually people will forget what you've done.
No, that's not what I said. I said they can always bring it back. Maybe they want to do a Halloween version.
Right, so, time isn't linear.
Yeah, and then you bring it back afterwards. It's not like you can literally just bring it back.
Wow.
Okay,
so
there you have it.
Spencer seems to go very practical. Like he thinks in very practical terms.
I'll take it.
What we've noticed is Spencer will incorporate the titles of the awards into the descriptions. to really just ham fist as much as physically possible.
Very
where he's
creative
aiming.
and also practical camp search scavenger hunt where
The
you
man
could
that-
have all the people, and I could fix all my problems in this title. That is it.
Thank you for
man has the
explaining it. That was perfect.
Yes, the man has the subtlety of a sunset billboard during Emmy season. So we have that going.
But not a sunrise billboard.
I hate you. We're going to move on to my pitches. Now, Ben, I want to say that DuckTales is something that's so informative to me as a storyteller. I learned storytelling devices through that show, but also the things that it pays tribute to, whether it be the Johnny Quest moments that you get to have your monster of the week. There's so many fun elements that I could pick from. Now, I only get 3 things to pitch here. So the first one, immediately out the bat, is a character that is so ingrained into my mind, so important to the DuckTales universe. And I think to myself, who else but Flintheart Glomgold? This is Flintheart Glomgold's mini putt extravaganza. Now, just like the episode that covered the idea where they had to go to a mystical golf game to face off against each other, I'm going to take that and expand out the idea a little bit more. Now, I myself love a good game of mini golf. But one of my favorite things to do is to mess with people that I'm with and kind of play around and taunt them and that sort of thing. And a movie comes to mind, and that movie's Basketball. So what I'm going to do is propose a interactive experience where people can go mini golfing. However, your goal is to mess with the people that you're playing with throughout the experience, giving them the ability to mess with your shot, whether it be air guns, water guns, things that they could do to cause your ball to go off course. So when you putt the ball, the people who are also in your party can affect the way that the golf green actually goes. Now, each one of these holes is themed like a different episode of DuckTales with a different adventure involved in each one. We'll have episodes where you're involving Gizmo Duck, we'll have all the various characters, but as you go through, you get to experience this and see the large breadth of stories that we get to have while having fun elements of the 3 nephews getting to affect what you're doing, basically. So it's the idea that you're getting to go golfing, but it's going to get a little bit more frustrating. Now, I know what you're thinking. At a theme park, you have a lot of people walking through it, and it's going to be hard to control that flow of traffic. And I have thought of this, and I appreciate you thinking about it ahead of time, because what I'm going to do to keep the flow of traffic moving is have 4 courses that are in tandem that are slightly different. The reason we can have this is there'll be a shot clock on each course. If they don't complete the course in that amount of time, it will automatically shut the hole for that hole, and they will have to move to the next golf course. So it's just going to keep pushing it towards the forward hole, so you have to keep the clock going. Now, how do we visibly show this? Well, in the episode that I remember, they have a fog that's slowly chasing them. Well, why not bring this into this real existence? So what we're going to do is we're going to be putting this golf course not outside, but it will be inside of a show building to allow a wall of mist to chase after the people going on each one of these holes. Now, I will hold for applause and for questions. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
There was a question I had, but I literally can't remember because I'm just enamored by everything that exists in this pitch.
I just want to know, how is this going to be like handicap compliant?
There's tons of ramps. The balls have to go over ramps and things like that. That's no problem at all.
No, you put a shot clock on it.
Yeah, so move faster, wheel faster, limp faster. What do you want me to do?
So
It's not my fault.
what if I can't see the fog coming or the shot clock ending? What does that do for me?
You'll hear the shot clock, and as far
Can I
as
hear the fog?
No, but you're also blind. Why are you going golfing? I mean, just because someone's blind doesn't mean they can't be a sniper, but I highly recommend
I wouldn't do that,
the pistol to them.
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so there's other rides at the park without the that factor being plugged in. I think there's a way to make it accomplish. You could have it so they have accessible ramps and that sort of thing, but that's not that difficult to involve. You can add a visual or an audio cue that says when their time's coming up. If we want to make it so it's handicap accessible, as far as the putting mechanism goes, we can build a special putter that's specifically for that has a bend that allows you to rotate it, which will cause the putter to hit instead of the standard golf swing. So
yeah, so making ADA compliant, that makes sense.
yeah, sure. Ben, you seem speechless. I know you appreciate the idea. You see the majesty and the wisdom in it. What are your
Everyone
thoughts?
appreciates ideas.
Well, I mean, you are thinking like a corporation being like, we got to move these people along, so the whole shut down. If you take too long, I mean, that is a way that you could make it work for a theme park, because you just need to move people through the holes. The fog coming in and getting people like, I'm a little concerned about. I'm also kind of tickled by the way you said, based on the episode I remember, here's a ride. It kind of makes me think that the next two rides are also going to be mini golf based or something like that. I feel like maybe you watched one episode of DuckTales and you're going to bitch all on that.
Oh,
We'll
I just saw a trailer for that one episode. So everything about this is that the next ride's just the Disney XD logo, and then the following after that. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely interesting. That's what I don't want spoilers. I don't know how practical it is, but we'll see.
You win some, you lose some. That's all I'll say on that regard.
I'm just curious to see how you managed to get this misty fog to follow behind at the proper time and then also dissipate in time so that the next group isn't just playing in a fog.
It sounds terrifying. It sounds like one of those video game levels where like a gas or a slime is after you and you have to move or you're going to die.
It's like Stephen King.
And mentally, what happens if you get lost in the fog? Like, what happens if you don't move in time?
You never
part of
leave.
another party.
I mean, that's a very good question that I probably should have thought through.
You become on the golf course.
Yeah, you get frozen into stone, just like in the episode.
Like Medusa.
If you mess up, yeah. So that's my first attraction. That is the Flintheart Glom Gold mini golf experience. Now let's move on to my drop tower idea. Now my drop tower, there is no shot in DuckTales that is more identifiable in my brain than opening a safe door, walking to the end of a plank and jumping into a giant pile of money. Now, with COVID and that sort of thing, I thought about the fact that it's going to be hard to justify a ball pit or inflating up coins or anything of that regard. So I think I came up with a pretty decent solution, and this requires fog. Now, I pitched a few weeks back a Game of Thrones ride where you fall off of the wall, and in doing so, that's the mechanism for it. Now, this is a little bit different. In this case, we're going to have projection mapping applied to a thin veil of fog. That is something that can be accomplished via bog fog or something of that idea. But the floor of the actual mechanism, the base piece, will basically be a sized up version of an air hockey table, with small holes pushed in the bottom, pushing air up at a certain level. At the same time, the ceiling is also having a certain amount of air, causing the fog to be compressed to a specific point. Now, this is changed by having us, as Scrooge McDuck, jumping down into it via a drop tower ride mechanism. So you'll be jumping from the top of the Duck residence all the way into this fake pile of money through it. The fog will dissipate, you'll come back up, the fog will realign, and you'll see the money again. It's the idea of having this swimming through / jumping into this giant thing of fog. That is the idea for my Scrooge McDuck money dive.
You're at the vault at Duck Manor?
I'm going off of the movie, that design of the McDuck residence. Because back then, correct me if I'm wrong. No, correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't have the money bin in his house originally, or it didn't have the money bin at like a separate location in the original. He had it in the actual residence itself, right?
I think so. I think in the older one, it was closer to his house.
Or at least it was in the comic books as well, like in the Scrooge McDuck's comics.
At least a lot closer than it was in the new DuckTales, not the regular.
Right, because the new DuckTales, he would have to drive to it. It was a separate location.
Yeah. Do you imagine, like, when you're jumping, are you like in a Scrooge mobile, or like how are you carried into the coins? Like, are you as if you're riding in Scrooge, or how do you imagine it?
I would say Scrooge is with you on this ride. Okay. So it's the idea being that we would make it look like a bank car or like a bank cart, and then next to you see Scrooge McDuck jumping in. And like we can have animatronics popping up out of the fog each time to like show it swimming through and that sort of thing, but then it gets out of the way as the thing drops. You can have that. The idea is that you're with them through that experience of enjoying his money.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say
I'm a madman, a genius.
no. By 2 seconds of Google research, I found that the money bin is on top of Kilmotor Hill. It sits atop Butterman's Fault. It's a fault line which would prove catastrophic in the event of an earthquake. It was moved to a secluded island in Duckburg for the reboot, but it is not part of the mansion in either the original series or that. And they've actually got classic photos and stuff. There's even of the comics. Can you see this?
Touche, Brad.
So it's cute that you made a whole Money Vault drop tower ride in his mansion.
Yep.
Not really canon, but all right. Anyways.
That's fair. This brings me to my third ride. One of my favorite things to come out of the new DuckTales universe is the introduction of Della Duck. Della Duck is something that I not only enjoyed as a character, but just the world that it opened up and this idea that she's stuck on the moon. So this ride is called Della Duck versus the Moon.
Oh, that's cute.
You will work with Della Duck as she's trying to find the pieces to build her rocket ship home. However, at every twist and turn, she's getting into fights with the moon people. This dark ride will be a combination of... What am I, weaving a tale for you? I don't want your pity.
I'm really into it.
No, okay, so this ride will be a dark ride experience where she collects things to try to make her way home to her 3 sons. All the while, we start to see that time has passed by as each vignette passes through, eventually leading to her heading back to Earth.
I'm into
and right
it.
Before the ride ends and she's reunited with the kids, you see out of the windows of the ride as the alien spaceships come down. That's where your ride ends, leaving the idea that they're about to attack.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen a dark ride with a plot twist at the end.
That's the goal. The goal is to change things.
It would be like if, the Peter Pan ride, you get back to your home and then all of a sudden Captain Hook is there. And it's like,
Right.
I'm not dead or something.
You finish Mr. Toad's Wild Ride and then it's just, he's also just a real toad. Or like we find out about a third character, like, where were you? It's like, what, he's married? And then the ride ends.
Yeah, you might have said this. What type of dark ride is this? Like, what style of dark ride?
What's a comparable? Like, as far as
I would say a comparable experience would probably end up being the Peter Pan ride. It's definitely a slower, more storytelling based ride. Very simple, kind of a throwback, but the idea is that you have that weightlessness feel in the ride car that you're in. So you have that basically like a miniature moon rover style thing that you can ride along in. But you'll have it jump and there'll be moments where it's like it has that weightlessness to it. But the idea is that things are slowed down. So you really get to see that story of her missing her sons and her putting in the effort into building her ship to get home.
And then she gets attacked by aliens. It's very, very E.T.
Well, they all get attacked by aliens.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm just saying that who was like our protagonist of the story, which I was so into, and then they're getting attacked by aliens, and I felt kind of sad. I don't want to leave a ride sad.
Did you watch the show? There's a whole thing.
I didn't watch every episode. There's a lot of them.
I don't know. I mean, I gotta say, I'm finding it pretty interesting. Again,
it's a really
it would be like
story.
If it was Guardians of the Galaxy and like Chris Pratt is like, "Thanks for saving us," and then all of a sudden he's like kidnapped.
Yeah, like Doctor Strange shows up and he's like, "Hey, we have to go. There's a big problem."
This
and
is
you're
the
like,
new
no,
Snow
tell
White.
me more.
The traumatizing kids.
Yeah. So those are my 3 rides. Now, Brad, bring us home.
Let me get out my notebook.
Like E.T.
All right.
E.T. had a notebook.
No, like the Bring Home.
E.T. ride. Yeah. Did you guys ride that when?
Yeah.
Did
I
I
rode
ride
it.
that?
I
You
rode
get
it
the
in
little-
Orlando.
You get the little card and you'd say what your name is. Yeah. And then you could line up like where they were saying essentially sentences at the end that were not appropriate.
Also, on a quick side note, when I was working at Universal doing surveys, someone came up to me and they asked me, and this was in 2018, they said, "Hi, can you tell me where the ET ride is?" And I said, "That ride closed 14 years ago."
In Orlando.
And then the guy died. He just dropped dead. He was like, that was my unfinished business. And now he haunts the park. Or if you're at the end of your shift, you say, just keep walking that way and then take a left and then just like end your shift and walk away. So they spend the the whole day just like going in circles looking for
You
it.
know where Waterworld is? It's next to Waterworld.
Yeah, it's in Waterworld.
I love Waterworld, and I
Or-
love
or,
working
you know,
at theme
if you're-
parks.
If you're at the top of the park, you know where the Mummy ride is? Yeah, it's lower lot. It's down there.
It's
You
in
just
that
keep
building.
you just keep sending them between upper lot and lower lot.
Wasn't it in
Is
that
that-
building before?
Is that where it was? Where the
Think
mother
so.
I
was?
don't know.
I think
No,
I think
no,
Mummy
it's-
replaced
it was-
ET. Mummy and Jurassic World and Park and Transformers are the only lower lot rides.
Then yeah, it's probably Mummy.
Jurassic
Because
World down.
Backdraft became Transformers, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the special effects stages became Transformers.
Have you guys incorporated that example of the ET saying your name technology into any of your pitches
I
before?
think
Because
we did at one
I think
point.
I did at one point.
that's such a I mean, anybody who rode that ride as a kid just is like, he said my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Along with all 40 others at the same time.
Thank you, Gary, Billy, Susan.
Mine was always like, Spencer. It was like always had like a break in the middle.
Yeah, mine could never be pronounced. It would always be like Uber.
Uber,
Like-
before Uber became a thing.
Yeah, and
Yep.
someone was riding that ride. Was like, I should start a ride sharing company.
It was a small moment that was really ingrained. It's like ET was my antithesis for this site.
I mean, ET's all about ride sharing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, damn it. That was a good joke.
All right, let's go to my pitches.
Yeah.
Here we go. I've got 3 pitches for you, and
Yes, you do.
I'm pretty proud of these pitches. What can I say?
Oh,
What
good.
can I say? These are good ones.
Here I was concerned.
First off, I'm going to provide a proper ride dealing with the money bin. I'm going to call it Escape from the Impossible. That's right. What you're going to be doing is you're going to help Scrooge McDuck test out his new security system.
No,
This is gonna
damn it.
be-
That is good.
This is going to be a dark ride with sets, projection mapping, and 3D screens a la Spider-Man or Transformers 3D. So you'll be going through his money bin and the different traps, such as the chainsaws or the gravity change in the library, or the weird brief scene with an like octopus type monster that you don't know what happened in that room, but something happened. Something happened. We're gonna find out.
It was a
We're
thing.
gonna find out what happened in that room because you're gonna get to experience it. And it's gonna end with a drop into the money pit. And so you'll go into the money pit in the episode Escape from the Escape from the Impossible. In that episode, the gravity is changed as they're dealing with the evil robot and F.O.U.L, the evil group, trying to steal all the things. So we're going to have that sort of gravity type changing of a thing, but we're going to use drop track instead to have you sort of fall into the money pit. The gravity will bring you up towards the top, and then you'll drop into the money pit before coming back and backing out of the money pit, back into the office, and then towards the exit of the money bin. So this way you get to sort of explore the ginormous place that is the money bin. That is its whole separate location from the mansion, not to be confused. They're not together. The money bin is in a separate location. I don't think I can make that clear enough. Oliver, I don't think, is even paying attention to me anymore.
Or he heard you and just didn't care.
It's a little bit of both.
Or he didn't hear you and he doesn't care.
And,
No, yeah.
and so that's my ride. That's my ride. Escape from the Impossible Bin. It's gonna have a lot of the elements similar to Spider-Man, Transformers 3D. Spider-Man even has a part with
Scaling.
the sort of gravity gun type thing where they hit the vehicle with it and it feels like you're rising and stuff like that. The big difference is we're gonna actually have a drop track for that final section, so that when we get to that final section of the drop, you're gonna really actually drop. Yes, Spencer.
So my question is, it's a two-parter depending on the first answer. The first question is, does this ride involve 3D glasses like Transformers or Spider-Man?
Well, considering I said it said 3D screens a la Spider-Man or Transformers 3D, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, so then follow up to that question is, as someone who is partially blind, 3D glasses, I love the Spider-Man ride, don't get me wrong, but I can't see half of it because of the screens. So are there any accessibility aspects that are incorporated into that for those that don't have the actual vision ability, or is it going to be another answer of, well, just don't ride that ride?
Well, hold on. I said it's up to them to get out of the fog.
I wasn't referring to you. I was just in general. It was a general blanket statement. But also.
What does Transformers 3D currently do, Spencer?
They have 3D glasses.
Okay. And then that's it?
Okay.
So if you ride that ride, it's like that.
So if I ride the ride, I get half the experience. I got it.
I will say, by using more sets and projection mapping, that's also part of why I'm making it an actual drop track at the end, as opposed to a 3D screen at the end. So you will have all of that part. There's just going to be several little story parts that might be not as exciting.
I guess
they won't be 3D.
Let me rephrase my question. I guess it's not so much the 3D screen as it is, if I was to just take my 3D glasses off, would that screen become blurry and weird coloring, or is it that the 3D experience enhances but doesn't necessarily take away? Does that make sense what I'm asking? I don't know. We can move on.
It makes sense what you're asking. I'm going to be honest, I don't know enough about 3D technology to know how that would work. Ideally, it would just look like a flat movie if you don't have the glasses on. Ideally, in a perfect world.
Yeah, great.
But
I don't know enough about the 3D projection and stuff like that to know how it works. Because I know if I go to like Spider-Man or stuff like that and I don't have the glasses on, I know it's blurry.
Fair enough, because Forbidden Journey does it where they had 3D glasses and then took it out and somehow it manages to work.
I mean, these are real points. I mean, like the Nintendo, like the Mario Kart ride in Japan, like it seems like it relies entirely on augmented glasses, and like there's people that won't be able to enjoy it.
It's a mixture. It's a mixture of the two. There's the ride itself can survive on its own, like it's still a dark ride, but the augmented reality adds a gamification on top of the system. So I mean,
you don't get to do the game.
Yeah.
And my questions can be stricken from the record. It's just my personal bitterness towards a lot of 3D.
Record?
No, we're not striking these. I think these are good questions.
No, you're making
great.
good points.
You actually had good points, and we're having a conversation.
Great.
As opposed to your right ideas, this was actually a good talk.
Well, mine didn't have it, but notice mine didn't have any 3D elements involved in any of them, so they're all relatively ADA compliant.
You live in a 3D world, Spencer.
Pitch your next damn ride.
My next ride is called the Flying McQuacks. So this is going to be a roller coaster ride where the cars are going to be styled sort of like a plane. So I want it to feel like you're going on a plane. It's going to start off feeling as if you're performing in an aerial stunt show, just like the McQuacks, which is where Launchpad McQuack is raised from. His family were aerial stunt performers. And so you're going to be a part of that stunt show. However, during the roller coaster, this is going to be a storytelling roller coaster. We're going to be interrupted by the Beagles, who want to rob the passengers on the plane. So they're trying to stop this plane. And so that's going to launch you into the rest of the roller coaster, where we'll have speakers in the front of the roller coasters, in the roller coasters themselves, so that you'll get the radio chatter, you'll get the story elements throughout the ride as you're flying around, trying to elude the Beagles. And then we're going to end this roller coaster. One thing I really want to do is Launchpad says he's a great pilot. He's not that great of a pilot in the end. So what I wanted to do was using some...
he's got a great heart.
Small little bunny hops is how I want to end the roller coaster. So it's sort of like you're coming in for a crash landing. So you're coming down, it's going to be bunny hop, slightly smaller bunny hop. So it's like you're bouncing on the runway before coming to a stop. That sort of feeling you get when you're in an airplane. Because, a lot of roller coasters, it's you come off of the thing, you turn into the station, that's it. You're in the slow part and you just hit the brakes. I want to have a sort of slowly decelerating hill bumps a couple of those, like you would see in a the mouse chase type rides. That sort of experience. So that is my Flying McQuacks ride roller coaster. Any questions?
I think in DuckTales, and I guess in both of the iterations, like Launchpad has a specific plane that he flies. Like, would you imagine it looking like that plane, or like a different kind of plane? Or
I think color scheme would be similar to his style plane.
okay.
It would be. I mean, obviously, because it's a coaster, we'd have to make allowances and stuff like that. But
Sure.
But I think the color scheme and whatnot, you can get at least that design and sort of get that feeling. This could be. I'm sorry. This would have to be a hanging roller coaster.
Oh,
so
like
not
Tatsu or something, or like
a flying coaster would actually be pretty cool. Actually,
no, this would not be a flying coaster.
and it's not going to be a
You're not
barnstormer
Superman.
either. No barnstormer, where it's got the little propeller at the front, and you're just.
No.
Is it like the Incredicoaster and you're hearing Launchpad be like, "Oh no!" like they're different.
I
points,
love the
like,
Incredicoaster. I love that ride.
I mean, it kind of, well, I like the Incredicoaster does have some theming elements now at the beginning. I remember back when it didn't. But does the Incredicoaster, do they have sound effects and stuff throughout the entire thing?
It's a lot of the mom. What's that? What's that actress's name?
Elastigirl.
Helen Hunt.
Elastigirl.
Helen Hunt.
No, it's
Elastigirl.
not Helen Hunt. I wanted to say Helen Hunt too, but she's totally different, and she's on
Laura
Mr.
Dern.
Mayor.
No, it's
No,
not Laura
it's
Dern.
not Laura Dern.
Jodie Foster.
Holly Hunter.
Holly
I'm
Hunt.
looking
Holly
it up.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like. There's lots of dialogue while you're on the ride. At different points, there's kind of speakers that are like kind of narrating the story.
Yeah.
And then there's the story right
okay.
before where it's like, get the cookie, Jack, or whatever, right up at the launch. Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
see,
best
I
part of the
haven't,
ride.
I haven't
love
ridden
that.
that coasters
Love it.
Oh, okay.
before they changed it to Incredicoaster.
Interesting. It would have probably inspired this pitch.
I go whenever I go with audio on the roller coaster. I go with the one I know, which is Rip Ride Rocket in Florida.
Okay.
Which
Interesting.
they have speakers in the headset, which uses because they use music to go and lights to go with it with the whole roller coaster ride. And so I just know that the speakers work really well in that design. Because they're right at your ears, and so you don't have to worry about the wind and the way that they're angled and stuff. You don't have to worry about the wind and stuff sort of canceling out. And so that's why I think more in the seats.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
All right. Any other questions?
No, it just makes sense because when you're flying an airplane, you're not hovering, you're sitting. Is that relevant?
Okay. I'm going to bring you up to my third ride. I think is my third ride is my most ambitious ride. I'm calling it Blathering Blatherskite.
Okay.
Blathering Blatherskite. Now,
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it.
now this is the code phrase that Gizmo Duck says to put on his suit. So what this is you're going to step into the Gizmo Suit 2.0. This is going to be a ride, a shooting dark ride, a la Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters or Men in Black. However, where this is going to differ is I want you to feel like you're in the Gizmo suit. So I want to use a setup similar to where you're going to hop on the seat, straddling like you would a steeplechase coaster, or something like that. So you're going to sit, throw your leg over, or slide onto it. The harness to lock you in will come down. That's the chest plate. And there'll be a laser gun on it that you can pick up to shoot the targets. And the big thing is you'll be able to turn to a certain degree right and left. And the way that you're going to do this is
How much of a degree?
Not
90
even
degrees.
not even a full 180.
Okay.
It's enough so you can turn like this. This is I mean,
40 degrees.
it'd be like a 90-degree angle entirely, with you being the center point. So you 45 degrees one way, 45 degrees the other way. And you're going to do this with there'll be 2 foot pedal buttons, because he's on a 1 wheel. And so I wanted to have the way that you turn is you're going to use your feet. And so you will, if you push the right one, you turn to the right. You push the left one, you turn to the left. And so this is your way that you can sort of aim. And you're going to have, I want to have the actual sort of 3D targets and stuff that you would shoot like in Buzz Lightyear. I know, or in Men in Black. I know Toy Story is very popular, but that one's all
3D.
I don't want that. I want the actual physical sets. And you're going to be going through Duckburg as the gizmo. And so we'd have a car that would have like probably about 4 to 6 of these in groups of 2. So 2, 2, 2. And you go through the way we'd obviously have to have modifications for to make it ADA compliant. The thing with the foot pedals and stuff like that's very easy just to switch where those buttons are, or how those work, or to just make it a stationary, or the fact that if we put a wheelchair on, okay, we just secure you in and give you the laser gun and you can still turn. You're not missing anything. The only thing you're missing is that ability to hit the foot buttons to turn from side to side. And so that's my ride. That's my Blathering Blatherskite.
Okay.
Sounds like a very dizzying ride.
You're
Like,
only going.
When you're turning left and right, are you seeing anything? Like this just
When you
like
drive a car, Spencer, how do you not get dizzy?
I'm just imagining, like the teacups where someone's just going back and forth the whole time.
You mean a spinning ride?
This isn't a spinning ride.
No,
Spencer.
I know, but you said turning left and right. I just think of someone
Spencer,
just
does
like
this make you dizzy?
Yes, it does.
Does this make
actually.
you dizzy?
Yes, it does. As someone with partial blindness, it's very difficult with depth perception of maneuvering through things.
And Spencer,
That Toy Story ride makes me dizzy.
Hey, Spencer, the nice thing about this is you have control over your vehicle.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, so here's I guess.
So then you don't turn it.
Hold on. Is it individual pedals or is it a group that's using the pedals?
It's individual. So you're on an individual stand. So the motor would be on the stand that's on this cart that's moving.
You become Gizmo Duck.
So you become Gizmo Duck.
Great.
Yeah. Like, but the Buzz Lightyear shooting game, you can kind of turn it around while you're shooting.
But it's even less than that, is what he's saying.
Yeah, it would be even less than that. Like
it's not even 360 degrees. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I'm fitting 6 other people on there. I didn't want you turning around and just staring awkwardly at the person behind you the entire time.
So those are Brad's 3 rides. Do you have any questions, Ben?
No, I don't think I have any questions.
So one more time, just for review, we're going to go through all of our rides titles for you, just as a quick refresher. And while we're doing that, keep in mind you're awarding first, second, and third place. You'll start with bronze, then silver, and then gold. So to review one more time from the top, Spencer, what did you have?
Wow, what didn't I have? I had a lot of great stuff. I had a Funzo's Fun Zone, Buddy a Test, and Junior Woodchucks of the World, a Scavenger Hunt Adventure. Wow. Just listen to those titles.
What are you, a doozy?
Extra, read all about it. These titles are great.
Boy, I had the Flintheart Glom Gold mini golf experience. I had the Money Pit Dive with Scrooge McDuck, and I had the Della Duck Moon Adventure.
I had Escape from the Impossible, my dark ride, the Flying McQuacks, my roller coaster, and then Blathering Blatherskite, my shooter ride.
So we're going to start with creative. This is the bronze award for creative. Ben, what are you thinking?
Wow, this is so much pressure. I think for bronze, I would go with the Della Duck ride. Della Duck is a very sentimental character amongst current DuckTales fans, and it's not what I would think of initially, right? I think everyone would go to the money bin right away because that's what we think of the most. Although I'm definitely not averse to money bin ideas. I don't want to make people that pitch those worried about other categories.
Right.
So I would go with Della Duck. I think sounds, especially, I gotta say, I mean, I'm still going with bronze, but the twist at the end is something I've never seen in a ride where
Right?
the kid thinks that everything is fine and all of a sudden something happens.
It is. She was stuck on the moon. It's not a happy story. Moving on to silver. What's your award for the silver prize for creative?
Silver, I would go with Blathering Blatherskite, the Gizmo Duck ride.
Brad takes the silver.
Even though you can only turn 180 degrees. I'm not as concerned as Spencer is about it. I think it sounds pretty amazing. It sounds like a pretty awesome ride.
Which brings us to gold. This is the gold for creative.
Gold goes to Flint Hart Glob Gold's mini golf experience.
Wow.
I mean, nobody pitched anything weirder than that. Like, it's the weirdest thing that you guys have pitched. Like,
And you would never forget it too. That's the thing.
no,
Plan
'cause
to.
there's two really upsetting elements. The fog, which is just like a horror movie, and then that the ride's the whole shut if you take too long. I would be so stressed out playing that. I would never forget playing that ride.
You know what golf, a very relaxing activity, needs? Just to crank up the anxiety that it brings. All right, so that takes care of it. So that brings us to practical. The bronze award for practical.
Well, practical, as I've mentioned before, is going to be an area where Spencer shines. He thinks very practically. Most practical for bronze, I would say the Junior Woodchuck scavenger hunt. I would say it's very similar to things that Disney already has. I think the stickers is a really fun idea. There's a Junior Woodchuck land in Japan, and so they have. They could do something like that right now if they wanted to. So it's practical, and I think that young children would enjoy it. So bronze to Junior Woodchuck.
All right, which brings us to silver.
I could envision the money bin drop of Oliver's with the projected kind of. I think you're kind of imagining like they used to have on Pirates of the Caribbean, like you would go through like fog where they projected
exactly
onto the
what I'm
fog,
thinking.
right?
Yeah.
When it used to be Davy Jones being like, this won't stay relevant for long. Yeah. They'll take it away later. Like
my favorite is I once went on that ride and a kid behind me said, "Is that Squidward?" So that was.
I hope you said yes.
Actually, I think I said it's Zoidberg.
I don't know what that is.
I love that they made changes to that ride and already have removed those changes because those movies are so old now that they're like, no one remembers.
They're going to reboot all
Yeah, they're
four
rebooting them.
Because you know what story we need to hear more of is the Pirates one.
I think for people our age, it is just so interesting to see how rides like the Pirate Ride have evolved and gotten just so much more woke over time. Like just slowly, in 10 years, it's going to be all women pirates, just like teaching the men how to respect women.
Right,
but it's also Pirates of the Sea.
Yeah, and there's going to be no jailed people behind with the dog. It's actually just going to be the dog free roaming them out the ride, and then there's no prison aspect to it.
It's going to be a terrible ride. It's just going to be really.
It's the Pirates of Patience is what it's going to be.
Pirates of the Open Seas.
It's just going to be a bunch of rats eating pie.
Yeah, that's what it is. Which brings us to gold for practical.
For gold, I would say Fun Zone, where fun is in the zone, is just, all they have to do is build a stupid arcade and call it an attraction.
It already exists, but just not as Funzos.
I should have thought more before I gave it gold about the upsetting money bin ball pit aspects of it, but what's said is said.
It's in stone. We can't undo this.
The overall experiences.
I think that ball pits by nature have sanitation issues, and Spencer just heightened them like tenfold. But I could
brought us to the forefront.
I could see it. I would hope that they sell gyros euros and they make fun of the name there, but that they
stop at that
the character's name.
Yeah. Excellent. That brings us to the final award. This is for guest favorite. So what do you got for bronze?
All right, I'm just going to give you a preview. There's one in here that hasn't come up before, and it's going to be pretty exciting for everybody.
Is it another episode's ride?
Yeah. The Leaning Tower of Cheesa. For bronze, I would go with Blathering Blatherskites, the Gizmo Duck dark ride with augmented reality of some kind, 3D projection screens. We got to get that Lin-Manuel Miranda new Gizmo Duck doing the voice. I mean, he's part of the Disney family. He's contractually obligated to do it, probably.
Probably.
All those rides get sound-alikes. Like, I know the guy that does Owen Wilson's voice for all the car rides and stuff, and he's a handsome black guy. He's not Owen Wilson. He just makes himself sound like Owen Wilson.
But he's a working actor.
Well, that's like what is it? Everything that's not the movies is Tom Hanks' brother for Woody.
What a great gig for him, yeah. Like, just all
it's
the
like, we sound
stuff.
roughly the same. Hold on a minute here.
This could work.
I'll take a paycheck.
So this brings us to silver for Judge.
Silver, the Della Duck dark ride, Escape from the Moon, with a big twist at the end.
Points for the alliteration.
I mean, I want to ride that ride. I mean, this show must make you just feel mournful that you can't see all these things become a reality.
Kind of.
Pretty much. We're hoping our ideas get stolen.
I must say, it would have been nice to have a Pink Floyd backtrack to that and call it Della Duck's Dark Side of the Moon. That would have been a really nice touch, I think.
That was the title. That was the title that we tried to pitch for that episode.
Yeah, we threw it we threw it at corporate, but they were like, "But why?"
Why not?
You'd be surprised at how gun-shy kids animation studios are about any kind of parody of any kind. I
would imagine, specifically with the Disney legal team.
Yeah. I wrote something for like a DreamWorks cartoon, and we were supposed to try to like parody Scooby-Doo, like for a very brief joke. And they were like, they can't be teenagers, they can't be in a van, and they can't have a dog, and they can't solve mysteries. And then
so
we were like,
Jabberjaw. All right, so that brings us to gold.
Right, gold. I would say that Brad was very manipulative. He picked an episode that I wrote, the only one that's aired so far. So he was really strategically trying to fancy my favor or tickle my favor. Whatever terrible.
Tickle your tombstone.
He was trying to tickle my tombstone. And I would say Escape from the Impossible. Escape from the Impossible is my goal for fan favorite.
Yes.
I can very much see that being a ride because there's so many elements to it. So,
and honestly, even if you weren't the writer of that ride, I still love the idea. It's just such a good episode to encapsulate what's so fun about that universe.
Yeah, it would be great. You could do so much stuff with that. Congratulations on that category, Brad.
Thank you. Thank you. See, Spencer, that's how you pander to the guest.
Listen, I still got points when I pandered to the guest, so I don't even know what your point is.
Speaking of thanking our guest and segues, Ben, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Thank you so much for awarding the points that you did, and thank you so much for putting up with our pitches. Is there anything else you want to plug before we head on out?
You can follow me on Twitter at BenjaminJS. Now that the election is over, only half of my tweets are desperate political tweets. Some of them are jokes again, so that's good.
Which I feel like should be the name of a book. Some of these things are jokes again. All right, Ben, on behalf of all of us here at Theoretical Thrills, I've been Oliver.
I've been Brad.
I've been Spencer.
Have a great one, everybody.
Did you enjoy the episode you just watched? Feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And if you have an interpretation of an idea based on the theme of the week, feel free to tag us on social media with hashtag Theoretical Thrills, and we may feature your ride and attraction on the show.
Theoretical Thrills, the theory of the thrill.